Prologue. Long before the first dawn touched the magical forest, a secret was planted deep within its heart. The trees knew it, the rivers sang of it, and the stars above whispered it to the moon. A gift was coming, one so rare and radiant that it would change the balance of the forest forever. The fairy folk spoke of it in hushed tones. The elves guarded its mystery, and even the singing rock hummed with anticipation. They all knew the gift would not arrive in the form of a mighty creature or a grand sorcerer, but in something small, delicate, and unexpected. One morning, as the petals of the tulips opened to greet the sun, a tiny blue bird hatched beneath the shelter of a flowering tree. Her fluff shimmered faintly as though kissed by starlight. The forest fell silent for a moment, listening. Then, as if in agreement, the wind carried a single word through the branches. Tutti. The forest knew the gift had arrived. Welcome. This is the story of Tutti'S gift. Chapter 1. Once upon a time there was a little bird named Tutti who lived in the glen of a beautiful magical forest in a far-off land. The day Tutti was born, a rainbow appeared over the magic forest. She was not the oldest, nor was she the youngest. Tutti was the middle bird baby. Tutti has a fascination to see and discover new things. Her love for adventure is known far and wide. Her travels would span the entire forest, which began at the foot of the largest hill near the very tall, ancient tree of wisdom. Tutti's tiny wings could take her as far as the banks of the river of life, way on the other side of the forest where her friend Erasmus lived. Tutti loved her family, especially her mommy. But Tutti has one thing that no one else has that makes her different from everyone else. She has blue feathers on her head, on her back, and her wings. She has orange feathers on her chest, and that one thing in the middle, a spot of magic fluff. Depending on how she feels, the fluff will change color. Tutti is unique, not just in her family, but in the entire magic forest. She is the only one that has this magic fluff, and she does not like it, not one bit. Whenever the fluff changes color, the shifting hues tell the other bird beings how she feels. She thinks they are teasing her when they ask her about it, so instead of showing her feelings, she controls the color by not showing her true feelings at all. Sometimes, when she is with her family, she forgets about her fluff. She was once upset because her little brother Pip teased her about her loud, off-key bird singing. And on the very same day, her big sister, Cheverly, got the last piece of poppy seed pudding cake. That day, her fluff turned gray. Tutti tried to hide her chest behind her wings, but her family noticed anyway. Pip stopped giggling and looked worried. Her big sister, Cheverly, offered her a crumb of the cake, but Tutti shook her head and flew to her favorite branch high above the nest. She watched the other bird beings swoop and play in the sunlight. Some had long tails, some had bright crests, but none had a spot of magic fluff. Tutti wondered why she had to be so different. She wished she could just blend in with no colors to give away her secrets. As the sun dipped lower, Tutti's mommy fluttered up beside her. She didn't say anything at first, just sat quietly, letting the breeze ruffle their feathers. After a while, she spoke softly. "Your fluff is beautiful, Tutti. It shows the world how special you are. Sometimes being different is hard, but it can also be wonderful." Tutti frowned. "But everyone stares. They always know when I'm sad or mad or embarrassed." Mommy nodded. "Maybe they notice, but maybe they care. When your fluff shines bright yellow, everyone feels your happiness. When it's blue, they know to give you a hug. Your feelings help others understand you." Tutti thought about this. She remembered when her friend Miko had fallen from a branch and hurt his wing. Her fluff had turned soft pink, and Miko had smiled through his tears, saying the color made him feel better. That night, as the stars twinkled above, Tutti curled up in the nest. She let her feelings flow, and her magic fluff shimmered with gentle colors: lavender for calm, gold for hope, and a touch of green for dreams. Whether she explored the forest with Erasmus or by herself, she could always be free with her feelings. Tutti could be whoever it was fun to be, her real self. Her friend Erasmus is a mystic turtle. His shell is royal blue. Under the light of the full moon, his shell glows, casting gentle ripples of sapphire light across the mossy ground. The glow is so bright that sometimes Tutti can read by it, tracing her finger along the lines of her favorite storybook as Erasmus hums a tune only turtles know. When they explore together, he sometimes lets her ride on his back. She pretends she is the captain of a ship sailing the ocean of divine compassion. She stands tall, one hand shading her eyes, the other pointing toward distant, imagined lands. Erasmus is a good sport and lets her tell him which way to go to get to their next magical destination. Sometimes they search for the legendary silver acorn. Other times they follow the trail of giggling wind sprites that dart between the trees. Erasmus, her friend, loves what makes him unique in his family, and he wears his blue shell proudly. He tells Tutti stories of his ancestors, some with emerald shells, others with shells as pale as moonlight, but none quite like his. He believes his shell is a gift, a sign that he is meant for adventures and friendships that are just as rare. Even though their explorations take all day to get to the large singing rock on the other side of the clearing, they are the best of friends. The singing rock hums with a deep, gentle voice, and when Tutti and Erasmus sit beside it, they feel as if the whole forest is listening to their laughter and secrets. Sometimes Tutti brings her flute and plays along, and the rock's song changes to match her melody. Erasmus is fun to be around and is always happy. He purposely finds the positive in everything, good or bad. If they get caught in a sudden rainstorm, Erasmus calls it a sky bath and suggests they look for rainbows. If they lose their way, he says, now we have a chance to discover something new. Because of this, he makes and keeps friends easily. He is friends with a flamboyance of dragonflies that live in the small pond near the lavender patches that sing lullabies at sundown. The dragonflies shimmer in every color, and when they dance above the water, it looks like the pond is sprinkled with jewels. Tutti and Erasmus often sit by the pond listening to the lavender's gentle songs as the dragonflies tell stories of the clouds they've visited. He loves the fairy folk family that live in a mulberry bush that is sometimes next to the small crystal cave, sometimes it's not, and the elves that live behind the waterfall of many colors. The fairy folk are mischievous and kind, always ready with a riddle or a sweet berry tart. The crystal cave glimmers with hidden rainbows, and Tutti and Erasmus have learned that it only appears when they are truly in need of wonder. The elves behind the waterfall are shy but wise, and sometimes they leave tiny notes written on leaves for Tutti and Erasmus to find. Together, Tutti and Erasmus wandered through a world where magic is everywhere, and every day brings a new adventure. In the forest with her mystic turtle friend, Tutti knows she is exactly where she belongs. Every morning before the sun rose in the east, Tutti would set out very early on her investigations of small streams, large and small bushes on the hillsides, and flower patches of poppies and tulips that danced all day. The world was quiet and gentle in those early hours, the dew still clinging to every blade of grass, and the air filled with the softest whispers of waking life. Tutti loved these moments of solitude. She could sing softly to herself, letting her truest melodies flutter without worry. Sometimes when she would pause by a stream, watching the water ripple over smooth stones or perch on a bush heavy with morning mist, feeling the cool droplets on her feathers. The poppies and tulips would sway as if greeting her, their colors glowing in the first hints of dawn. Yes, there was the one place that always tugged at her curiosity, the mysterious caves just north of the Singing Rock. Even though they scared her, she couldn't help but wonder about them. There was always a mysterious white-blue light coming out of the caves, so she would fly past them, telling herself she would try again some other day. The light seemed to pulse gently, like a heartbeat, and sometimes she thought she heard faint music drifting from within. Days passed, and each morning, Tutti found herself glancing at the caves. Her heart fluttered with a mix of fear and excitement. She imagined what might be inside: hidden treasures, ancient secrets, or perhaps magical creatures waiting to be discovered. Still, her wings would carry her away, back to the safety of the sunlit hills and friendly flowers. One day, as the sky blushed with the promise of sunrise, Tutti's curiosity overcame her fear. She took a deep breath, feeling the cool morning air fill her chest, and fluttered toward the caves. The entrance loomed before her, shadowy and mysterious, but the white-blue light beckoned her forward. She hesitated only a moment before stepping inside. The cave was cool and damp, the walls shimmering with veins of crystal light that caught the strange light and scattered it in every direction. As she flew deeper, Tutti's fear melted away, replaced by a sense of wonder. The air was filled with a gentle hum, as if the cave itself was singing a lullaby. As she flew deeper into the cave, she looked left. In a crevice on the other side of a small stream, something glinted at her. The stream bubbled softly, its water clear as glass, and the glint seemed to call her closer. She flew up to take a look and found, right on the edge of a rock, a beautiful blue and white crystal. It sparkled with an inner light, swirling with colors that reminded her of the dawn sky. When she held it in her tiny bird hand, it felt very cold, sending a shiver up her wing. She knew it was extraordinary because as she closed her fingers around it, she felt the presence of beings, like angels, all around her. The air seemed to shimmer, and she heard soft, comforting voices whispering words of encouragement and love. The cave felt alive with kindness and warmth. Tutti felt a warm flush come down from the top of her tiny head. She was oh so happy that she changed her mind. The fear that had once held her back was gone, replaced by a deep sense of belonging and joy. At that moment, her fluff turned bright pink because she felt the unmistakable feeling of love. It felt like a yummy, warm hug, wrapping her in safety and happiness. Tutti would never be afraid of the crystal caves again. She placed the beautiful crystal in the sparkly pouch she wore every day. Her mommy made it for her to carry all of the treasures she found on her adventures. As she left the cave, the white-blue light seemed to shine even brighter, as if celebrating her bravery. From that day on, Tutti visited the caves often, each time discovering new wonders and feeling the gentle presence of the angelic beings. She learned that sometimes the greatest treasures are found when courage leads the way, and that love can be discovered in the most unexpected places. One day, after another amazing adventure, Tutti looked up toward the horizon. Today, while exploring far and wide with her newfound confidence, she'd forgotten the time. The sun was already dipping low, painting the sky in shades of rose and gold. With a sudden flutter of worry, she turned her wings towards home, realizing she'd stayed out far too long. As she flew toward the horizon, Tutti felt the weight of the distance. She had wandered farther than ever before, and her little wings grew tired. She needed to stop and rest a while to catch her breath. From high above, she spotted a flat rock near a well-worn path she recognized. Relieved, she swooped down and perched upon it, folding her wings neatly against her sides. Her eyes closed for what seemed to be only a moment, but in that moment, the strangest thing happened. A shadow fell over her, and something heavy came down, covering her completely. Tutti gasped and tried to lift her wings, but they would not move. She struggled, twisting and turning, but the more she fought, the tighter the strange thing held her. Then she felt it, something warm wrapping around her, squeezing her tight. But this was not the warm, yummy hug she felt when she held her blue crystal. No, this warmth was different. It was harsh, it was heavy, and it was wrong. Her heart pounded as fear crept into her chest. Suddenly, a sound broke the silence. It was a sharp, strange, and unlike anything she had heard before. Living in the magical forest, Tutti understood the songs of countless bird beings, the chatter of dragonflies, and the whispers of fairy folk. Even the deep tones of the singing rock, but this sound was foreign, rough, and frightening. "Gotcha!" a voice cried. Tutti froze. The sound belonged to a young boy, a human child. His net had landed on her, and now his hands reached in, grasping her roughly. Tutti chirped loudly in alarm, but the boy only sneered as he pulled her out. Without care, he shoved her into a small wooden box waiting by his feet. The lid of the box slammed shut. Darkness surrounded her. Tutti's Fluff, once glowing with the soft pink of joy, dimmed and turned dark with fear and sadness. She pressed her wings close, trembling in the tiny space, her heart aching for the freedom of the forest she loved. "Now I just have to ask Mom if I can keep you," said the boy. "You are going to be my new pet." The box smelled of dust and old wood, and the air inside was heavy and stale. Tutti pressed her wings against the sides, but the walls were too strong. She felt her heart race, her tiny chest rising and falling quickly. For the first time in her life, she felt truly trapped. All of a sudden, deep inside her pouch, the blue and white crystal began to glow faintly. Tutti felt its coolness against her feathers, and a soft hum filled her ears. The warmth of the angelic beings she had once felt in the crystal caves returned, reminded her that she was not alone. The boy, unaware of the glow, carried the box down the path. He whistled to himself, swinging the box carelessly, but Tutti could feel the crystal's energy growing stronger. She closed her eyes and focused on the memory of love, the same love that had once turned her fluff bright pink. This is Sherry. We are at the end of Tutti's Gift, Chapter 1. Join us next time for the next Reiki-infused, mystical, magical, sleepy time story from the Rainbow Realm. Tutti's Gift, Chapter 2. The saga continues. Have a restful sleep.